You are now listening to
the Primal Armor Podcast.
This episode is sponsored by Executive Fit LLC. They build custom deadlift platforms, custom barbell storage pieces, and make indoor and outdoor signage for your home or corporate gym. Every platform that pairs with a rack is customized to that specific rack, so everything fits nice and clean. And they ship nationwide. Each platform has a logo applied in a way that makes it impossible to peel up from wear and tear. They even make custom nameplates for your squat rack. Visit executivefitllc.com to request a quote and see what's available on their store. That's executivefitllc.com to upgrade your deadlift game today. Welcome to episode 56 of the Primal Armor Podcast. Today we're going to be focusing on one of the most important aspects of recovery, stretching and flexibility. There are many things that help make up what an athlete actually is, and they refer to these as the pillars of physical fitness. The pillars are cardiovascular and respiratory endurance, stamina, strength, flexibility, power, coordination, agility, balance, and accuracy. The main one that most people focus on is strength, because that's the one most people can see. They see it in the muscles on people's body. They see it in the daily tasks that people do. It's the most common of all the pillars that I just listed. Many people don't focus on the other ones because they don't consider themselves an athlete. The forgotten and ignored pillar that we're focusing on today is flexibility. Most people who work out neglect stretching in their programs, and that's both pre and post-workout. And if they do it, it's just a few arm circles here and there. They touch their toes before diving straight into a workout. Your muscles are pliable. The best example I have is they're exactly like a rubber band. And what happens to a rubber band when it sits around and is not being used or stretched? It becomes brittle and it breaks at the easiest of tugs. And the same exact thing happens to your muscles. And this is why you're seeing guys in their 40s, 50s, and 60s trying to do something that they used to do back when they were in their 20s, and they're injuring themselves doing it. It's because their muscles weren't ready for it and they weren't prepared for it. You have to consistently use and stretch your muscles. And stretching doesn't even have to be a cool down stretch that you have to hold for 1 minute at a time. It can even be incorporated in your warm-ups as plyometrics. This keeps those muscles firing and ready to go. But overtraining can be a big thing people do in the workouts as well, as people don't think they're getting a good workout unless they're really, really sore the next day. But when you're super sore like that, your tendons are tensing up even tighter than they already are as a defense mechanism. You're sore because there's a bunch of micro tears in your muscles, and your tendons are trying to guard that from getting any worse. If you continue to fight that tendon, you're just going to injure yourself even more. This is why people need to do deload weeks and to stretch regularly. You can stretch enough to relieve the pressure that's on the tendon that it's giving to the muscle and allow it to elongate again and relieve some soreness. But one of the biggest and overlooked things about flexibility is having a muscular imbalance. Have you ever seen those people in the gym that have a huge chest, but they're so far hunched forward in their shoulders? That's because their chest muscles are so tight from always being worked, and their back muscles are weaker than ever before because their chest muscles are just getting so strong that it's continually pulling them forward. And this can lead to bigger and bigger problems. And this leads to a lot of neck issues in people, or upper back issues, or even lower back issues because it tightens up those muscles down there too. The same goes for people with big biceps. They can't even fully extend their arms because their bicep tendons are a lot tighter than all the other muscles in the tricep that help keep the arm straight. And the exact same thing applies to your thighs and your hamstrings too. This makes it so when you're focusing on strength exercises, you're not even getting your most bang for your buck, because you can't hit the full range of motion and you're neglecting the eccentric portion of your lift. And that's the portion that causes the most muscle and strength growth. If you were to continually and regularly stretch those tight muscles, it would help your body be in a more ideal biomechanical position so that you can make the most out of your workouts. Because you can't truly get strong without being flexible. No one wants to be that person that can't blow their own nose or wipe their own butt because they aren't flexible enough to reach it. You can't just focus on one or two of the pillars of physical fitness that we were talking about earlier. You have to build them all into your program. And stretching is a huge one that people always forget or always try to skip because they're just short on time. But in reality, it's one of the most important things because it can help you get past and work through those plateaus in strength. It can make your body feel even looser and younger than it's ever been before. And it'll be easier to get around when you're older. And it helps decrease your risk of injuries because pliable muscles are functional muscles. It helps release that muscular stress and tension that everyone has. So whether you're active or not, this is going to help with all that muscular tension. There are just too many reasons to not be stretching in your programs. And you don't have to be an athlete to need or want to focus on any of those pillars of physical fitness because you need them for daily living, especially flexibility as you age, because that's something everyone lacks and everyone struggles with. Don't be that person who's sore every single morning when they roll out of bed. Be that person who hops right up because you're stretching and limbered up and ready to go. I just think about being a grandpa one day, or even being a dad to my daughter as we get older, and not being able to do certain activities with her, or being too scared to because I might hurt myself. I don't want to disappoint anyone like that. And if stretching can help me get on the floor and roll around, play hide and seek, play catch, go to the park, and all those different types of things with my family, why wouldn't I? It's easy to skip out on those things for gym purposes. But do this for your family too. Be the family athlete even in your aging years. Because everyone thinks the fit grandma or the fit grandpa is the coolest thing in the world. So you need to try to make that you. That's what will make life way more enjoyable. When you're not feeling so sore and beat up every day. And when you have tons more of quality years left because you spent a few collective minutes every day stretching. A few minutes for a few years. That sounds like an amazing investment to me. How about you? Before we end today's episode, I'd like to give a quick shout out to Anchor Podcasts. They distribute this podcast, you guys, in just about any platform you may try to find us on, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many, many more. All the recording, editing, and final touches are also done through Anchor, which makes getting the Primal Armor podcast out to you guys very quick, easy, and mobile. You guys can also submit questions or voice messages that I can add to our next episode. Go download the Anchor.fm app today to check out what it's all about. I just want to thank you for listening to today's podcast, and we'll see you back here again next week.